Hey everyone, Joshua Kirk here with you once again. Now it's time for episode 228 of Album of the Day, in which for today's album review, I'm finally doing my first album review on this channel of an album released in this year, 2019, which I'm going to be reviewing the new album from a New York singer-songwriter who, for the past decade, has been one of critics' favorite singer-songwriters under its kind of indie umbrella. She's gotten noticed right away for her voice, along with her usually very stripped-back sound, which made her lyrical content the main focus of her music. Of course, I'm talking about the songwriter known as Sharon Van Etten, and she is finally back after 5 years of studio album silence with a new record released on January 18th, 2019. And the album is called Remind Me Tomorrow, and as you can see, I have this album on vinyl. Got it at Ka-Chunk, one of the most recent albums I got at that store. And this is definitely one of the first albums that I fell in love with this year. In 2019. On this new record, she kind of sort of departs from her usually kind of stripped back sound, and I'll go into a little more detail about it later, but anyway, I'll show you. I really like this album cover. It's definitely a very simple, it's a photograph of two kids, possibly her own children. But it somehow actually kind of fits the sort of, it does fit the kind of lyrical messages of this album. And also it is beautiful. It is a beautiful illustration of the album's title, Remind Me Tomorrow, too. Here's the back, which features a photograph of her, and there's 10 songs on this record. It's over 41 minutes. Released on Jaguar. And what's really cool is this gatefold actually has photos of all the musicians that contributed to this record, as well as a bunch of stickies on there too. Which one of the musicians on here is actually Jamie Stewart from the San Jose experimental band Shoo Shoo. How cool is that? And there's the thank yous, and she also lists artists that she really likes, that she recommends to the listener. And there's the lyrics there. Here's side A, and then there's side B. And this is on really nice blue vinyl, which I think is probably limited edition vinyl color. Yeah, it's kind of a thick vinyl sheet. And that's the vinyl packaging for Remind Me Tomorrow, the new album by Sharon Van Etten. Now, how she departs from her usually stripped-back sound on this new record is that in place for something a little more folky, she actually delves into more electronic textures, so this album is definitely darker production-wise. It's also a little, I'd say, gothier than her previous works. It definitely has almost a little bit of a Chelsea Wolfe, Zola Jesus kind of vibe going on, but yet it's songs that are very dark and gothic, but at the same time very accessible too. And it's a perfect anchor for her voice, I would say, too, really pushing her voice to new heights. And of course, this was all done with the help of St. Vincent producer John Congleton, And along with a variety of other musicians, I already highlighted Jamie from Shoo Shoo, but then there's also Joey Waronker, who's played drums with Beck a lot, and Heather Woods Broderick sings background vocals throughout the record too. To a variety of very talented people on this record. And I was definitely looking forward to hearing this record because there were some awesome teaser tracks for it, including the song Comeback Kid, which is a complete banger, unlike anything I've ever heard from her before. Not only because of her production, but she just sounds more full of life vocally than ever before as she sings "Come Back Kid." Yeah, such a phenomenal chorus and some great production on there. I really like its kind of pulsating beat, along with its very kind of cathartic organ and synth playing. It definitely sounds kind of comparable to the direction Perfume Genius took on his new record, and I absolutely love it. Love it. It's definitely one of the most cathartic songs I've heard, not only from her, but I think from a song in 2019, even though I know this song technically is 2018, because that's when it was released, at least. But as soon as I heard it, I was floored right away. Wait, some of the other singles include the song Jupiter 4, which is definitely an example of how kind of dark and somewhat ambitious this record is for her. I love that kind of dark bass synth that sort of that goes underneath her vocals, which this is definitely a little more kind of like a love. This is more kind of like a straight ahead love song if you listen to the lyrics, but it just has so much depth and enough to give you chills as you listen to her vocals, especially in that chorus when she gets into that higher range. You get, when she says stuff, I've been waiting my whole life for someone like you. It's very simple, but when I hear her sing that, I feel that. I feel that, man. That man. And it goes perfect over the kind of weird off-center production I hear, which features some really cool theremin drones, some kind of steady drums and bass that go well with the kind of shimmering guitars and percussion, and also that distorted fuzzy synth solo at the end sounds really kick-ass too, which I'm pretty sure some of the weird sounds I'm hearing on here not only come from Congleton, but Jamie from Shoo Shoo as well. But probably my favorite out of all the singles released on this for this record, and also my favorite track on the record, is the song 17. Total banger of a track. It definitely has a little bit of a, sort of cathartic kind of rock and roll feel, similar to that of like a Bruce Springsteen song, but in my opinion, probably like even better than a Bruce Springsteen song. Because, I'm not really a gigantic Springsteen fan. But still, this track is phenomenal. Definitely some great lyrics on here. This is sort of a song where he sort of seems to be talking to, someone that she's like broken up with, who kind of broke her heart, but, but this is like the total opposite of that kind of, moping, melodramatic kind of breakup song that we sometimes hear from some people. Instead, she sounds very determined to just kind of move on with her life and kind of just sort of telling that person, basically just kind of, telling this person that, you think you know something, but in reality you really don't, and I used to be 17, now you're just like me, as she's sort of reflecting on kind of growing up and stuff like that. So I strangely relate to this song, because I used to be 17. Now I'm 18, about to graduate high school. So this song is definitely a little bit of a, a little bit of a, definitely holds a special place in my heart for 2019. 19, and there's some great production on here. I love that kind of noisy, whizzing, like, I don't know if that's guitar or if that's synth or something like that, but whatever it is, I really like how it sounds. Some great driving rhythms section on there, but probably my favorite moment in this whole song is when Sharon Van Etten gets into that higher range and explodes all of a sudden. I mean, it's the kind of thing where I can't really put it into words. You just have to listen to it for yourself. So, fantastic, promising singles on here. Now I'm going to go into some of the deeper cuts on here. I love the track No One's Easy to Love. It's definitely one of the standouts here on this record. I mean, as soon as I heard that kind of driving groove with the bass synth and the beat come in, I was instantly hooked. And it's also definitely one of the best written songs on the entire record. Sort of talking about how it sort of talks about, this new love that she's had, and how it's kind of like, it gives her joy and stuff like that, but it also kind of brings her anxiety about, like, anxiety about, like, because she's so busy all the time, always, being there for that person, because, she's kind of, got work to do, she's got a tour, and stuff like that. So it kind of makes sense that the reason why she hasn't released an album in so long is because she's actually, kind of put music on hold to focus on his, personal life, and, eventually she did have children as well. So this song kind of reflects on sort of that experience and how, that's kind of brought her a variety of different emotions. A fantastic chorus on there. Like I would say, one of the big selling points of this album is how memorable the choruses are, and cathartic the choruses are. So I think, if this were done with, folkier instrumentation or as a piano ballad, it definitely wouldn't make as much sense. So, this is the kind of sound that she definitely has, done something different, but at the same time she's not intending to alienate listeners, and, go totally berserk with it. Still let her songwriting progress. So I think this is the kind of record that, most of her fans are actually, really gonna dig, and it'll be like an even bigger percentage by those who are likely gonna, not like this record. Not like this record. I also really like the song Memorial Day. It's, that track has a similar gothic feel to a song like, Jupiter 4. It's got some really cool production effects going on. I love that kind of spooky vocal chant loop that's incorporated into the beat. John Congleton really shows off his production skills on here. I would say, and it's got a really cool kind of sexy groove to it. So it's kind of like it's definitely dark, but you can definitely sort of dance to it a little bit. And it's the kind of song that lyrically is kind of vague, but it does. Kind of vague, but at the same time, it definitely does leave an impact, because this could be a song about her, like, she, like, has kids, and she's sort of, warning them that, because the world is kind of, kind of set ablaze right now, and, we're hearing a bunch of, doom and gloom, hearing about a bunch of pretty, doom and gloom oriented stuff on the news and stuff like that. It's sort of a song where she's sort of asking them, what does the world look like to you? but sort of warning her that once you find out that you're sort of growing up in this kind of tumultuous, breathless world, you're definitely gonna want to run for sure. Sean, and when he hits that high note on that "you will run" hook, that's definitely really beautiful to hear. Along with Heather Woods Broderick's really nice kind of convincing harmonies. Harmonies. One song where I think their vocals blend together beautifully. The song Malibu is this really Malibu. The song Malibu is definitely kind of a lighter song, but no less impactful. It's kind of it's like yet another love song, but like this time definitely not quite as dark. But it definitely leaves an impact as its lyrics kind of boil down to this beautiful image of a little red car that doesn't even belong to this significant other that Sharon is with. Sort of, and talking about that little red number, which I think could be a license plate, which is a beautiful little symbolism of their love, pretty much. Much. And it definitely does kind of seem like a simple piano ballad, kind of in the similar vein of stuff she's done on her older records, but then once that kind of distorted synth solo comes in, it definitely shows you that it still has that little bit of ambition to it. And I also really like that those kind of warbling guitar feedback noises that happen at the end. Really kind of unexpected, but really cool sort of off-center outro for this song. The song Hands is so the song Hands also features some really interesting sounds. Underneath its kind of driving bass instrumentation, we get this kind of clustery synth feedback, along with some other cool sounds, including what sounds like a cymbal being played with a violin bow, resulting in this kind of shrieky, kind of spooky noise. And definitely one of the best vocal performances on this entire record. I think her singing throughout is definitely very strong. Very strong, as she's sort of, telling her lover once again that, that she means no harm to anyone, and stuff like that. And she's sort of admitting to what she's done, mistakes she's made in the past. And I love how self-aware she is on this song too. It's where she is on this song too of what she's done, and also a really great sort of driving lead guitar hook in that chorus too. And also there's definitely some other kind of lo-fi production effects, not just the synths, but also her vocals are kind of recorded with kind of a lo-fi microphone fuzz, and it works really well, creating a kind of and it creates a really cool kind of cathartic effect for her voice. The closing track, Stay, is sort of like the resolution for this whole record, sort of reminding all the people she really cares about in his life. Sort of proving to them that ultimately they won't let her go astray, and they're just gonna let her find her way. And sort of saying, and she's sort of saying that that there does come a time when you answer, so you should do it with heart. and she wants them to express themselves and not let it get to their head. So definitely the most optimistic sort of message on the entire record, and I really appreciate that for the end of this album. After some more kind of complicated songs on here. And production-wise, the song is like really beautiful. It's kind of, it's really nice, kind of the really nice syncopation of guitars with drums on here, and some kind of melancholy organs and pianos as well. Definitely a gorgeous ballad. Overall, definitely a very strong record. It definitely is bound to go down as one of my favorites of the year so far. Maybe not my first favorite singer-songwriter record of the year so far. That would have to go to the Jessica Pratt album that came out recently, but it still definitely is a record that deserves a spot in my favorites list of the year. There are a couple of tracks that I think are kind of like lulls, including the opening track, I Told You Everything. Definitely a great sort of vague but well-written song, but I would say pace-wise it maybe is a little too slow, and I think came maybe a little too early into the record, so not quite the best opener. But my actual least favorite track would have to be the song You Shadow. Melody-wise, this is kind of underwhelming and kind of, generic. And I don't really care for that, like, the fuzzy guitar does kind of, drain on me after a while. And not quite as strong lyrically either, even though it is kind of clever, the idea of sort of, proven to her shadow that it doesn't do anything that she doesn't do. But, other than those couple of lulls, I'm really digging this record. I think John Congleton's production, like I said, fits her voice really perfectly, and sort of shows that if she was going to take a risk stylistically, collaborating with John Congleton was pretty much, a step in the right direction. So I'm gonna give Remind Me Tomorrow an 8 out of 10. Definitely 8 out of 10. Definitely check this record out. I never really listened to much of Sharon Van Etten's music. I mean, I had been aware of her, but it wasn't until this record when I finally got to hear her music, and I am hooked. So I definitely, put this on your albums to listen to for 2018. I recommend. And that's my review for Remind Me Tomorrow, and I'll see you for episode 229.